So the requirement is, of course, you need to pass a certain review process. Okay, like a referee. It's like when you go in your thesis, somebody there's a panel. I mean, master's thesis, there are, including your advisor, there should be three. So one advisor and then two panels. Okay. So in doctoral, when I was in my time, there are five. So my advisors, I have two advisors and then three panels. So there are five reviewers. So each would ask question like that, those things. In the journals, the same thing. As I mentioned a while ago earlier, that um, some have panel reviews. So the paper goes in, there's a panel deciding if this paper goes out for review, and then the reviewer would maybe, at least there's two, sometimes three, and then more. Okay, so it depends. So it depends upon the policy of the journal. Okay, so of course it should be properly referenced and with the specific style of formatting. In the social sciences, we use APA. APA, right now, people use version 7, okay? So 7 is easier. And then, of course, each journal has their specific style formatting for the references. Why do I need to reference? Why do I need a specific style? Because academic writing is a scientific activity. I mean, I put it there in violet, underlined, but scientific undertaking. So there should be a certain convention that people would be able to distinguish the references that you use is what is like. Is it a book? Is it a book chapter? Is it a website? Those things. But more and more, because of the computer, the artificial intelligence, right now it's easier that you don't need to, to memorize. I think the APA eventually, I'm thinking, would be, the referencing would be like maybe become a free form thing, because right now there are the machine can, like Google Scholar, can easily detect the paper, is it the book or something. It's like because of the artificial intelligence thing. So eventually the references, I think, would be not that much an issue. But still, for social sciences, it's APA. For engineering, have you heard of IEEE? It's a different thing. So each fields of studies, they have different types of style formatting depending on the field of studies. Okay, so, and the third, there should be some form of like methodology or literature course, or it would also depends upon the type of paper that you write. But there are go around. Okay, there are tips that I can give you. So okay, let's go on. Okay, so this one, when we look into it's like doing an action research, the academic publication, the practice. At first you begin, you need to have an idea, of course, of what to write. If you don't have an idea, you go back to the beginning. Of course, you need to what I can recommend, or when you're teaching basic education, look into what you teach in your class itself. So that's why that is pushing for action research. So action research is something that you do that would help make your teaching, or make your class, make the teaching learning process better. So maybe you have some I have a teaching idea. How can I use this in my class? And then you do some, collect some data, So you have an idea first, and then you go on, you do it, you make some, of course, you need to do some initial work to think about it, read some literature. So how is this topic? How can I do this, like that and that? And then you do it, and then you collect the data. And then afterwards, you need to document, you need to write. Okay, so in any of these stages, if you did something wrong, you go, you go back like that. You go back, right? You go right, you go back, and then you publish. Actually, this is there's some more here. After you publish, you need to revise, or maybe you get rejected, you go back again, you revise, and then go back again. So the writing itself, the process, the practice itself is sort of an action research. And I think our, mostly, I think everybody knows action research, right? There's research within the classroom, right? Okay, so good. So why is academic publishing so important today? As I've been saying, that you get you get promoted. Promotion is, translate to, more salary, so financially maybe. So at the beginning, maybe it's like Maslow hierarchy of needs. Have you heard of that? That the beginning, you just need to have like for like security reasons, but in the end, eventually it goes into like for what do you call that? Self-actualization. Okay, so in the beginning, of course, it's like just you wanted to publish. Okay, so but later on, as I'm saying, these are requirement for like if you want to change job. Like me, I changed my job twice, so that's why I keep on publishing. Yeah, so because job recruitment, you need to show some research capabilities. So that's why, and I try to move on to better university. That's it. Okay, so in a short, in a nutshell. So okay, so promotion, tenureship. Tenureship is like you get permanent. Right now, a lot of work are what they call that either contractual for university work. There are some, of course, there are what they call that part-time teachers, and then when you go into a job, you'll be like contractual, maybe a year, at most 3 years, and then you become a permanent. But they will do a review also again. Doing a review, it means like they will check on your teaching, and then of course they will check your what they call that the publications, of course, and then those things, a lot of things. So and then you get tenured. Tenure means like you're a permanent teacher already, but that doesn't mean that you don't need to write. As I mentioned, that I'm being evaluated every 3 years, so you still need to do so. So, I mentioned many universities are determined primarily by the publication record as a job of the quantity and quality of work being done in the university. But how is quality measured? I always ask that. How do you really measure quality? It's unknown. There's no certain accepted, what do you call that, benchmarking or that. But a typical accepted is like to get published. And then if the journal that you publish into has a certain level of prestige within the field of studies that you're in. So that might be a certain, judgment of quality. As I mentioned, in my field, there's a journal called EAQ, Education Administration Quarterly. You can Google it. It's like difficult to get in. Okay, so then quantity, in the beginning might be you wanted to have more exposure, get people to know, okay, Dr. Ching, he published a lot of this subject like that. So a lot of quantity, but later on you're focusing on quality. Okay, so let's continue. So sometimes people say academic publishing as the currency. It's like the more papers you have, the more quality papers you have, the better chances of moving to a better university. Okay, so okay, so but it's right now it's getting tougher. So if you have a PhD and then you finish your PhD, I would ask, what would be your objective of getting a PhD? To work in university, or basically, and that's it. And to go into research, there are actually many types. I did the studies on that. Actually, majority would wanted to teach when you after you get your PhD, but some, like a third, probably wanted to do research. Let's say those field, like those like chemists or engineers, would they want to teach? No, maybe they wanted to invent something they in the lab. So there are researchers and there are faculty. So all of those work are professionals that they have doctoral degree, and then some would go postdoctoral. It's like after the PhD, you get stay in the school and then do some research postdoc position or research position like that. Okay, so those are all of those things need publishing. Okay, you need to publish before you can get get forward in your career. Okay, whatever that is, you want to be a faculty or postdoc or a researcher, those things. Okay, so the concept of publish or perish is like very dire. It's like very is it so really like that? If you don't publish, you get perished. maybe not in the terms within the basic education, maybe not that much. It's like if you don't do an action research, will you get fired in the DepEd? As I recall, not much, but they don't get the. I mean, they give, I think, 6,000. If I'm not mistaken, for in the DepEd in the high school or junior high, I think. And then of course you get to get those points and you get promoted to teacher two, something like that. So in the beginning, in 1938, if this term publish or perish was first mentioned in the AAC, it's like they started to push faculty to publish. So, and then, but in a good sense, it's like you need to publish. If you don't, within your field, the in a certain field of study, let's say my field, educational administration, if you don't publish, that means that the field itself is not evolving. It's like there's no scholarship within the field. So the more publishing, let's say, oh, remember COVID-19, right? I think everybody knows. So if you see that the studies of like the vaccines, there's a lot of publishing. There's a lot of publishing first, and then before the vaccine would come out. So it's like advances within the vaccine, the mRNA, the mRNA is a type of vaccine right now. So it's being, because of COVID-19, a lot of advances have been made. So all of those need to get published because they need to be reviewed and then get the public to know. So publishing is a way of like acknowledging certain advancement in knowledge or advancement in the field of study. So in the beginning say, if this certain field of study don't publish anymore, it's stagnant. It's like the water, the river is not moving. That was before their concept, okay, in the 1938. So later on in the 1942, it's exactly the same. It's the same thing. The academic individual, it's like mean like in your work, in the field of work, you need to publish to move. It's like the pushing the field, the pushing this field of study in the next stage. Parang this station, and then you publish. Publishing is somebody pushing at the back. Okay, that was before. You make that in 1950 primarily meant for scholarship. Okay, so if you publish it, you become a scholar. People recognize scholar. But in the 1950s, because of the start of the citation indexing, what are citation index? Citation index is a sort of a database that keeps track of citations. It's like, let's say you publish a paper and then people cite your work. I think everybody familiar with that. If you're familiar with APA, the references, it's like, oh, I cite your paper. This somebody mentioned, okay, let's say Ching 2020 mentioned this, like that. So after you publish your work, your paper get online, right? So those citations are being counted. So the more citations you have, it's like your paper become more known. Okay, people will know more about your work, like that. So the 1950 is the beginning of the citation. Have you heard of Google Scholar? I think everybody knows that. Have you heard of Scopus Index? Those are like identification number of each paper. It's unique. It's like parang national ID. No, not national. It's an international ID. It's unique globally, over the world. Unique. Your paper only has that certain number, so you can track who cites your paper. Okay, so that's why Google Scholar can easily, track your paper. Scopus and ISI are connected with journals. So if the journal is included in Scopus, your paper is immediately included in the Scopus database. And then if your paper is an ISI or Web of Science member, and then it will be in the ISI website. So if you talk about prestige, or people will see that it's Web of Science first, ISI, and then Scopus. Okay, so those, our participants who are in higher education, you familiar with this. Okay, maybe in the basic education, not much.